Hello, welcome to another video tutorial from Prelims Learning Center. Today we are going to go through an exam paper in order to help you prepare for a prelims. Without further ado, let's start with the first question. 600 thousands, 9 thousands and 4 tenths is something. You're supposed to convert the words from above to the value below. In order to prevent yourself to be tricked by the question, it's better for you to write each number below the words. So 600,000 is 6 with 5 zeros. 9,000 is 9 with 3 zeros. And 4 tenths is 4 with 1 zero. So when we sum them together, we will have this. And therefore the answer is option 3. Question number 2. Which digit in 386.129 is in the hundredths place? Hundredths place is in the second decimal point, and therefore the answer is 2. Moving on, the third question. Mr. Sim bought 5/8 kg of charcoal. He used 2/3 of it to barbecue some chicken wings. How much charcoal was left? The fraction 5/8 kg is a value because it is something kilograms, and therefore it is an exact value that we know how heavy it is. Alright, but this fraction is a proportion. It has no unit kg to it. Okay, so and there is a fraction of, and usually when you have a fraction of, we multiply. However, the question is interested is what is left and not what is used. Okay, so we find the other portion, which is 1 minus 2/3. Alright, which is 1/3 left. And this will be the fastest way to do it. And then we take 5/8 kilogram, multiply by 1/3. And we multiply across 5 times 1, you get 5. 8 times 3, you get 24. And therefore the answer is 5/24 kilograms. Option number 4. Question number 4. Which of the following is likely to be height of the teacher's table in the classroom? As you have definitely seen a teacher's table, you know that the teacher's table is almost as high as his or her waist height. And therefore, if your teacher is only, the average Singaporean is only 1.6 to 1.7 meter tall, how can the table be 3 meter tall? It would be taller than the human itself, isn't it? And therefore 1 is out. 2, 80 cm. 80 cm seems reasonable to be at the waist height. Let's move on to option 3 to see whether these answers are feasible. Option 3 is 100 meter, and 100 meter is actually the length of a football pitch. Alright, and this definitely cannot be the height of a teacher's table. Alright, and therefore option 3 is out. And lastly, option 4 is 150 cm. That is almost the height of the average Singaporean. The average Singaporean, 1.7 meter, is 170 cm, which is only 20 cm taller than 150 cm. And therefore this 150 cm is too tall for a table. A table can only be around your waist height, and therefore it is out as well, leaving our only option as option 2. Question 5. In a square grid below, which of the following pairs of lines are perpendicular to each other? Perpendicular means 90 degrees to each other, and therefore which of these are 90 degrees to each other? Here you need to take a protractor and measure all these values. PQ and QR. PQ is this line over here, and QR, okay, this is definitely not 90 degrees. PQ and SR. PQ and SR is not even touching each other. They are parallel to each other, but they are not perpendicular. So this is also out. ST and QR. ST and QR is not even touching each other, so it cannot be perpendicular as well. ST and TP would be the answer. If you measure using a protractor or a set square, this is actually a right angle. Option is 4. Question 6. The table below shows the number of stalks of carnations sold by a florist. Find the total number of stalks of carnations sold from Monday to Saturday. Alright, from Monday to Friday, 5 days, you have 35 per day, and therefore you take 35 times 5 to get the answer of 175. And then Saturday, you sold 4 times the number of stocks sold on Friday. On Friday, just like any other weekday, you sell 35. So if you sell 4 times that, is another 4 times 35. Which is 140. And then you add them together to find the answer 315. Option 3. Question 7. The figure below shows a net of a solid. What is the name of the solid formed by the net above? Alright, this is a prism. The answer is 2. A cone is a triangular, 3-dimensional object, but the base is a circle. This is a cone. A cuboid is a rectangular, 3-dimensional object. The pyramid must at least have 3 triangle sides on the sides. And therefore this only has 2 triangle sides and it can't be a pyramid. And therefore all of these options are out, leaving the only answer as the prism. Alright, question 8. Lynn and Karen went shopping. On average, each girl spent $28. Karen spent $12 less than Lynn. How much did Karen spend? Whenever we are doing an average question, we can always find the total. The total would be the average, $28, multiplied by the number of people there, which is Lynn and Karen, 2 people. And therefore $28 times 2, you get $56. Alright, then you don't underestimate this question. If you need a model to help you see what this is, then you draw your model, Lynn and Karen. And their total is 56. And therefore, if you want to find Karen, you have to subtract 12 first from 56 to get 44. And you divide 44 by 2 to find the answer, $22. And therefore, the answer is option 2. Moving on, question 9. Charlie and Daryl shared some stickers. Charlie had 2/7 of the number of stickers Daryl had. Alright, this we can write a ratio. Charlie is the numerator, 2 units. And then Daryl, which is the denominator, 7 units. This is our ratio. What was the ratio of the total number of stickers the boys had to the number of stickers Charlie had to the number of stickers Daryl had? And therefore, the first one must be their total. Okay, the total is 2 plus 7, 9 units, and this will be the answer. 9 is to 2 is to 7, option 1. Okay, moving on. Which one of the following fractions is closest to 1/2, which is actually the fraction half? In order to find the answer, we must either get half minus the fraction if half is larger than the fraction, or take the fraction minus half if the fraction is actually greater than half, and see the remaining fraction, which one is the smallest. The smaller the fraction, the closer the given option is to half. Alright, so let's look at the first option is 1/3. 1/3 is smaller than half. Therefore, we take half minus 1/3. Alright, we find the lowest common multiple, which is of 2 and 3, which is 6. Alright, we have 3/6 minus 2/6, and you will get 1/6. Alright, then we'll move on to 3/8. 3/8 is actually smaller than half. Alright, because half of 8 is actually 4 units, but 3/8 only has 3 units. Alright, so we take 4/8 minus 3/8, half is 4 over 8. Alright, minus 3 over 8, you'll get 1 over 8. Alright, so option 1 is already out because this fraction is larger than this fraction. Alright, so we look at question 3. 5 over 6. 5 over 6 is larger than half. Half is 3 over 6. Alright, so by how much we find out? 5 over 6 minus half, which is equal to 5 over 6 minus 3 over 6. You'll get 2 over 6, which is actually simplified to 1/3. Alright, 1/3 is larger than both 1 over 6 and 1 over 8, so it is out as well. Okay, lastly, 7 over 10 is larger than half because half is 5 over 10. And then when you subtract them, you get 2 over 10, simplified to 1 over 5. It is still larger than 1 over 8, so it's out. And therefore, the answer is 2. Alright, the answer key says that question 10 is 1, but actually the answer is 2. Alright, so let's move on. Ong bought 225 grams of chocolates. 40% of the chocolates were dark chocolates and the rest were milk chocolates. She gave away 45 grams of the dark chocolates. What percentage of the chocolates are now dark chocolates? Alright, so a good practice is always change the percentage into a fraction. Alright, if you cannot see straight away that it is a 2 over 5, you can just express it as 40 over 100 first, then slowly simplify to the simplified formats. Alright, 4 over 100, 40 over 100 simplifies to 4 over 10, then because they're both even number, it can be simplified again. Divided by 2, it becomes 2 over 5. Alright, okay, so 2 over 5 of the chocolates were dark chocolates, and therefore the remaining will be milk chocolates. The remaining will be 5 over 5, 1 whole, minus 2 over 5, and you get 3 over 5, and that are the proportion for the milk chocolates. Alright, so she gave away 45 grams of the dark chocolates. Alright, so we need to find the actual mass of the dark chocolates. Alright, so the dark chocolate is the percentage, 40%, which is a fraction, 2/5. So we take 2 over 5, 225 divided by 5 first. Alright, and then we'll get 45. And since dark chocolates are 2 units, we take 2 times 45, we'll get 90 grams. And you gave away 45 grams, and then you're left with 45 grams. But you have to remember the total also changed because 45 grams of dark chocolates were given away, and therefore you have to subtract from the total 225 minus 45 to find the answer 180, and then we take 45 as a fraction of 180 times 100%. We actually get 1/4, and 1/4 is actually 25%, so answer is 2. Okay, question 12. Miss Tian had some lanterns in her classroom. She bought 5 new lanterns and added them to the lanterns she had. 2 new lanterns were torn and she was left with 18 lanterns. How many lanterns did she have in her classroom at first? So we were given that Miss Tian has 18 lanterns left, and we want to get the number of lanterns at first. So this is actually a working backwards question, and therefore whatever that was torn we add back, and whatever that was added we remove. Alright, so we ended up with 18 lanterns. Okay, 2 new lanterns were torn, so it was gone, but it was originally there, so we add back 2. And then she bought 5 new lanterns. She bought, but we want to know original, so we have to remove this 5 so we minus 5 and therefore 18 minus 5 is 13 and we cannot mix the algebra n with the value 2, so the 2 remains here. Therefore the answer is 13 plus 2. Answer is option 1. Okay, moving on. Question 13. Jenny poured 20 liters of water into some pails. Each pail had a capacity of 6/7 liters. She filled some pails completely except for one pail. How much water was in the pail that was not completely filled? Alright, so the total amount of water that Jenny poured is 20 liters. Okay, but each pail can only hold 6/7 liter. Alright, that is the capacity. Okay, so she filled some pails completely except for one pail. And therefore that one pail will have the remaining water that cannot be fed into the other pails. Alright, so first we need to know the number of the completely filled pails. Okay, so we take 20 liters, the total amount of water, divided by 6/7 liters. Alright, because 20 liter is being separated into these pails. Alright, so separation means division. So we divide by 6/7. Okay, we know that division by 6/7, we can change the numerator with the denominator and then change the sign to multiply. Okay, so what we end up with is we can actually simplify here by cancelling this. This would become 10 divided by 2. Alright, so 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then we multiply across. 10 times 7, 70. 1 times 3, 3. Alright, so we have 70/3 number of pails. Okay, and which is actually the 3 complete pails. Okay, 23 times 3 is 69. Alright, so you have 1/3 left. So what does this 1/3 means? It actually means for the last pail will be 1/3 filled. And since the last pail, like all other pails, have 6/7 liters of capacity and it is 1/3 filled, we multiply by 1/3. Alright, so we can cancel this 3, becomes 1, cancel this 6, becomes 2. Okay, so 6 divided by 3 is 2, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and then we multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2 units, 7 times 3, 7 times 1 will be 7 units, so the answer is 2/7. Right, so the option is 2. Okay, moving on. Question 14. The digit 6 on the scientific calculator is spoiled. Charlotte wanted to use the calculator to find the value of 76 times 19. Which of the following should Charlotte key in to give her the answer? So this question actually asks you for which of these 4 options is actually equal to 76 times 19. Alright, so we assess each of them individually. 74 times 19. Alright, so it's 74 groups of 19 plus another 19, and therefore this is actually 75 groups of 19, which is one less 19 than the answer, so this is out. Alright, option 2. 75 times 19 is 75 groups of 19. Alright, and then later on you plus 1. You need another 19 to make it 76 19, not another 1. Because we're doing BODMAS, we have to do this first and not do 19 plus 1 first, and therefore it doesn't work. Alright, so question 3. And so option 2 is out. Question 3. 77 times 19 is actually 77 groups of 19. And then we minus another 1 group of 19. Alright, so what you have is actually 76 groups of 19. Alright, so that is the answer. 3. 76 of 19 is 76 times 19 here. And therefore the answer is option number 3. Alright, let's take a look at option 4 to check first. Alright, so 80 times 19 is actually 80 groups of 19, but you minus 4. And therefore minus 4 will not get you the answer. Alright, so 4 is out. Option is 3. Okay, so question 15. The figure below is made out of 2 circles, A and B. X is the center of circle A. The diameter of circle B is 14 cm. Find the perimeter of the shaded parts. Take pi equal to 22/7. Alright, first of all, you might not be able to see the X clearly. So I'm going to mark out the X here. The X is this point, right in the center of the circle. Okay, so X is in the center of circle A. The diameter of circle B is 14 cm. The diameter of circle B is also the radius of circle A, because it is halfway from the center to the side, and therefore it is the radius. And therefore the diameter of A is actually 14 as well. Sorry, it's another 14. So 14 times 2. which is equals to 28. The diameter of circle A is 28. Alright, so the area of circle A will be pi times its diameter. Sorry, the circumference of A is pi times its diameter. Okay, so pi d, you have to find that because it is included in the circumference, which is asked in the question, included in the parameter. Alright, so you take pi d, which is 22 over 7, multiply by the diameter, which is 28. So we cancel. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So 22 times 4 is 88. Okay, so the circumference of A is 88. Then we look at B, the small one. The small one, alright, the circumference is pi d as well, but the diameter is only 14. Alright, so 22 over 7 times 14 over 1. Okay, again we can cancel this. 22 times 2 is 44. Okay, so we have the circumference of the big one and the circumference of the small one, circumference of A and B. So the parameter is actually the parameter of A, the circumference of A, add with the circumference of B. Alright, so we take 44 plus 88. It gives us an answer of 132 centimeters. Alright, which is answer is option 2. Okay, we have come to the end of booklet A, so let us move on to booklet B of paper 1. Let's move on to section B of paper 1. Question 16. Find the value of 10,000 minus 706. Alright, so this is simply a subtraction. So we do subtraction. 10,000 minus 706. Alright, the only number here that we can borrow from is the 10,000's position. So we cancel this. This becomes a 0. Everything will become a 9. And the 1's position will become a 10. Alright, so 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 0 is 9. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 minus 0 is 9. So the answer is 9, 2, 9, 4. Fairly straightforward, right? So question 17. C Ling was born on 1st June 1999. How old was she on 1st March 2006? Alright, so we can draw a timeline to help us. So this is 1st of June. Okay, so 6th of the June is 1999. Alright, so the 1st June of 2000 will be 1 year. 1st June of 2001 will be another year. 6th June of 2002 will be another year. Alright, so on and so forth. Alright, we have June 03, June 04, June 05. Alright, so here June 05, June 06. Okay, but June 06 is actually past 1st March already. So it is not complete years. So how many complete years do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we don't have the 7th. Alright, so 6 is the 6 years. And we are 3 more months to another full year. So we take 1 whole year minus 3 will get the months. Alright, so 6 years and 9 months is the answer. Okay, question 18. Express 0.04 as a percentage. In order to express a decimal as a percentage, we change the decimal into a fraction first. Alright, so this second decimal place is actually a 4 over 100. And 8 is an 8 over 1,000. Okay, so when we add that together, that's actually 48 over 1,000. Okay, so that 48 over 1,000, we need to make it a denominator of 100. A denominator of 100 is a percentage. Alright, so you can see that you have too much. You need to divide by 0 to cancel this 0. So when I divide by 0, it is actually 4.8. Okay, giving you the answer 4.8%. Okay, moving on. Question 19. An open rectangular box is shown below. When the box is fully packed with 1 cm cubes, how many cubes are there? Alright, so 1 cm cube is simply, you use the formula base length times breadth times height. Alright, for a 1 cm cube is just simply 1 cm times 1 cm times 1 cm. Alright, so the volume of that is 1 cm cube. Okay, so how many cubes are there? We just find the volume of the whole entire figure and divide, and that will actually be the number of cubes as well, because you're going to divide by 1 cm cube, which is the number itself. Okay, so we take the base area, length times breadth is actually the base area. And therefore what we need is 64 cm square, the base area, okay, multiplied by 15 cm. Alright, you can do your working. 64 times 15. Okay, 4 times 5 is 20, 6 times 5 is 30, 32. Alright, then we have 640. Sum them together. I have 960 cm cube, which is actually divided by 1, you'll still get 960 cm cube, and that's the answer. Alright, moving on. How many lines of symmetry are there in the figure below? Okay, so this, some students might be confused. They think that if they cut across this, it is in the center, it is also a line of symmetry. But that's not true. Alright, if you take a ruler and measure this point, alright, the perpendicular distance here, the reflected point should be here. But there isn't anything here. So this is not a line of symmetry. The line of symmetry in blue can only be this and this. So there is only 2 lines of symmetries. So the answer is 2. Okay, moving on to the next question. Point P is north of point Q. In which direction is point R from point P? So we are going to draw a compass here for point P, and then we're going to point the north here. Alright, so on the right hand side of the north is east, on the opposite would be south, and on the left would be west. Okay, so they want to find in which direction is point R from point P. Okay, so point R is actually at this southeast position. Okay, so you use the answer will be southeast. Alright, spell it out, do not just write SE. Okay, question 22. The figure below shows a container filled with some water. Wally had some bottles with a capacity of 100 ml each. She poured out all the water in the container to fill the bottles completely. How many such bottles could she fill altogether? Okay, so first of all, we must know how much water it is. So we must read this beaker. So we count the number of intervals. We have 1 interval, 2 intervals, 3 intervals, 4 intervals, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we have 8 intervals. And then this beaker is likely to be in liters. Alright, it's unlikely to be anything else, because if it's a whole number, it can't be 3 milliliters. If it's 3 milliliters, it wouldn't be able to fill even 1 bottle. Okay, so it must be in liters. One of this interval must be the difference between 3 and 1, which is actually 2 liters. Alright, divided by the total number of intervals, which is 8. Alright, that's between 3 and 1. And therefore it is 2 liter divided by 8. So you convert 2 liters to 2000 ml and you divide it by 8. Alright, you have 2 here, 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. Put now is 0, 5, 40. Okay, so 250 grams. Sorry, milliliters. Alright, so you have 250 milliliters for 1 interval. You have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 intervals, so 9 times 250. Alright? You have 2250, and you take 2250 divided by 100. You actually have 22, remainder 50 ml. So the answer is 22. You can fill up 22 full ones, meaning 50 ml is not enough to fill the last bottle. Question 23. Alvin was walking at an average speed of 70 meters per minute. At this speed, how long did he take to walk a distance of 910 meters? Okay, so this one is fairly straightforward. We take, because distance equals to speed times time. Here we have the speed of 70. Alright, so distance equals to speed times time. We have the speed, we have the distance. So we simply take the distance, 910, divided by the speed, which is 70 meter per minute. Alright, we'll get the answer. Cancel 1 0, cancel 1 0, then you divide 91 divided by 7. Alright, which is 13 minutes. Okay, so that's the answer. Fairly straightforward. The figure below shows two straight lines, AB and AC. Draw two straight lines at point A to form an angle which is equal to angle Y. Alright, this question seems to have some problem. Alright, because there is no point A. The point is likely to be here. Okay? Because AB and AC, so this line must be AB, and this line is not supposed to be here. Alright, so the answer would be if you draw this line and then continue with this line, because opposite angles are equal. So as long as you extend this line and you extend YB, you also get an angle that is the same as Y. Okay, so mark and label this is angle Z. Okay. Question 25. Adela mixed flour, sugar and butter in the ratio 5:2:3 to make some waffles. How much flour did she use for 3.5 kg of the mixture? Okay, so you have a ratio, and let's write down the ratio. Flour is to sugar is to butter. So F for flour is to sugar S, and butter B, 5:3. Alright, so how much flour? I'm interested in this. Alright, but the total is given to me as 3.5 kilogram. Alright, so first we have to find the total number of units first. Alright, the total would be 5 plus 2 plus 3. I will have 10 units in total. Alright, so if 10 units is equals to 3.5 kilograms, and because 3.5 kg of the mixture will be represented by the total 10 units. Alright, then 1 unit will be equals to 0.35 kilograms. And then we will take that times the flour, which is 5. Okay, so 0.35 times 5, which will have 1.75 kilogram, that is. Alright, the answer gives you a units of grams, so I need to convert it into grams. So I'm going to times 1000. 1 kilogram is equals to 1000 grams. So if I times 1000, I will have 1750 gram, and that is the answer. Okay, we go to question 26, which is 2 marks. Alright, the table can seat 6 people as shown in figure A. Following the pattern shown below, how many such tables are needed to seat 42 people? We start off by writing the number of people and the number of tables in each of these figures. Alright, then we can see what is the pattern with regards to the people and with regards to the table. Okay, so figure A, I have 1 table, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Alright, figure B, I have 2 tables, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. Here I have 3 tables, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 people. So you can see this one plus 4. There's a pattern already, plus 4 each. Okay, how many such tables are needed to seat 42 people? So we make use of this. We make use of the last one because it's the largest one. And therefore we take 42 minus 14 to find 28. So I need one table to feed 4 people. Alright, so 28 divided by 4. Another 7 tables. But don't forget to add on to the already 3 tables, which is a total of 10 tables. So how many such tables? The answer is 10 tables. Moving on to question 27. The figure below shows 2 identical circles enclosed by a tape. A and B are centers of the circle and length AB is 16 cm. Find the length of the tape. Leave your answers in terms of pi. So this question wants us to find the perimeter of the figure, which is outlined in red, and therefore that will also be the length of the tape. Alright? So one thing you can take note is that this portion, half of the circle, this portion is actually not surrounded by any tape. Okay? That will leave us with the 2 semicircles, each belonging to A and B, and therefore there's no need to divide the circle's circumference by 2 because 2 semicircles make 1 circle. So that will be pi d. And pi d in this case, the diameter is, half of it is 8, but we want to go through the entire one because it's diameter, and therefore it is 16. So pi d is 16 pi. Alright, that will give us this portion and this portion. But then we have to add in this portion and this portion, which is 32 cm in total. 16 cm times 2 equal to 32 cm, and then our answer will be 16 pi plus 32. Okay, this is our answer, 16 pi plus 32, whole thing centimeters. Moving on to question 28. In the figure, ABCD is a rectangle and angle EAB is equal to 239 degrees. Find angle EAD. Okay, since ABCD is a rectangle, all of its corners are 90 degrees. Okay, and therefore if this external angle is equals to 239 and this angle is 90, then angle EAD, which is the blue one, will be 360 minus 239 minus 90. Okay, because one whole round is 360 angles in a point. Okay, so we're going to just subtract away 90 and 239 and we'll get the answer 31 degree. Okay, that will be our answer. Let's move on to question 29. The graph below shows 3 different games played by children at the fun fair. Each child played only one game at the fun fair. 80% of the total number of children played pick a duckling and shoot the stars. Draw the bar that shows the number of children who played shoot the stars in the graph. Alright, there is an error in this question because it already shows this bar, but I'm still going to tell you how to get it. We first label catch the butterfly and pick a duckling with the number of children who played each game. We must always do this to avoid any careless mistakes. Alright, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intervals between 25 and 50. Alright, so 25 divided by 5. Each interval is 5. Alright, so here you have 1, 2, 3. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 25 is 40. Alright, for pick a duckling, you have 50 plus 1 interval, 55. Okay, so if 20% of the total number, 20%, let's change it to 4 over 5. Alright, that is a habit you should always have. 4 over 5 of the children played shoot the stars and pick a duckling in total. So that means the remaining fraction, 1 over 5, must have played catch the butterfly. So if catch the butterfly is 1/5 of the total, then all of the total will be 40 times 5, 200 people. So there must be 200 children in the whole entire fun fair. Alright, so then we take 200, minus away pick a duckling and catch the butterfly, which is in total 95, you have the answer 105, and here should be 105, and therefore you can see the answer shown here is 105, which is correct. Okay, moving on to question 30, the last question of paper 1. Vincent and Willie spent some time completing a project. Vincent spent 30 minutes more than 2/5 of the total time spent by both of them. Willie spent 1 hour. Find the total time spent by the boys in completing the project. Okay, we can express this in a ratio. Okay, Vincent spent 30 minutes more than 2/5. 2 out of 5 units of the total time spent by both of them. Okay, so here the total time is Vincent plus Willie's, which is here referred to as the denominator of 5 units. Vincent himself will be 2 units plus 30 minutes. Okay, this is how you express the first sentence into a mathematical format. Okay, for you to understand this concept better, we will draw a model. First of all, we'll draw Vincent and Willie's adding up together to form 5 units. Okay, so if Vincent is 2 units, then the remaining must be 3 units. However, if there is an additional 30 minutes here, therefore, this part must be 3 units minus 30 minutes. Alright, so this 3 units minus 30 minutes is equals to Willie's time spent. So, and that is equals to 1 hour. So we form the equation 3 units minus 30 minutes equals to 1 hour. Okay, so 3 units, 30 minutes we throw over. 3 units minus 30 minutes equals to 1 hour. Therefore, 1 hour plus 30 minutes is equals to 3 units. So 3 units is actually equals to 1.5 hours. Alright, because this 30 minutes is equals to half an hour. Since we know that 3 units is 1.5 hours, alright, if we divide it by 3, on each side, you'll get 1 hour. 1 unit will be equals to half an hour. Okay, since we have 1 unit equals to half an hour, find the total spent. The total is simply 5 units. So let's just find 5 units directly. Half an hour times 5. Okay, that will give us 2.5 hours. That will be your answer. You can express this as a fraction. Alright, that's the end of the paper 1. Let us move on to paper 2. And therefore you can use your calculator here. Question number 1. Mrs. Goh cut a ribbon into 3 smaller pieces. The first piece was 3 WCM long and half as long as the second piece. The last piece was 8 cm shorter than the second piece. What is the length of the ribbon? Usually when we compare 3 items like this, we will use the smallest piece, the smallest item as the base unit, and we'll express the second and the third one in relation to the smallest piece. But in this question, it is an algebra question, and therefore we must express the second and the third piece in relation to the first piece, because the first piece, 3 WCM, is the algebra given to us. So here we can start to change the English to mathematics. Alright, the first piece was 3 cm long. Okay, so we write the first piece is equals to 3 cm, 3 WCM long. Okay, so the second piece, they said that the first piece is half as long as the second piece. So the second piece must be 3W times 2, which gives us 6 WCM long. Alright, and the third piece, the last one, was 8 cm shorter than the second piece, and therefore it will be 6W minus 8. Alright, so now we know the first, second, and the third piece. We can find the length of the ribbon by adding all of them together. Alright, so 3W plus 6W plus 6W minus 8. Okay, so you have 6, 12, 15W and 1, 8. 15W minus 8. Okay, that will be your answer. Remember to put in the bracket. Alright. Okay, moving on. Question 2. The figure below is not drawn to scale. ABCD is a rectangular piece of paper. A corner of the paper was folded to form triangle AXY. Find angle YAB. Okay, this question has been getting really popular. The trick to getting it correct is actually rather simple. You just have to remember it, and the next time you see, you shall be able to apply it. Alright, one of the key to answering this question is to recognize that this is a rectangular piece of paper, and therefore all of its corners are right angles, 90 degrees. Alright, and therefore since here has been folded over to here, this is a right angle. Alright, so now you have two angles, and then we know that the angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. We will just take 180 degrees minus 57 degrees minus 90 degrees, and then we'll get the answer of 33 degrees. Alright, so this is 33 degrees. So the first thing you need to take note is that this corner is actually a 90 degree. It used to be the corner of the paper. Alright, so now we need to find angle YAB. YAB. We need to find this angle. We just need to know, the second thing we need to take note is that this is also 33. Because just now it used to be here, this paper over here used to be here, and you flip it over here. And therefore, they are identical angles. Alright, so now we just take 90 minus 33 plus 33. 33 degrees multiplied by 2 is 66 degrees. And then we take 90 minus 66 degree, we'll get the answer of 24 degree. Alright, so this is the answer for question 2. Moving on, question 3. 3 different colored bulbs light up at regular intervals. The red bulb lit up once every 4 minutes. The blue bulb lit up once every 6 minutes. The yellow bulb lit up once every 9 minutes. After the 3 colored bulbs light up together at 16:45 hours, when would all the bulbs light up together next? Alright, so this question is a lowest common multiple question. Okay, so if you see, I'll draw a diagram for you. Okay, if you see that the blue one lit up once every 4 minutes. Okay, the next time it will lit up is at the 4th minute mark. It will lit up, and then you have 5, 6, 7 where you will not do anything, and then 8 they will lit up again, and therefore you can see there are multiples of 4. Alright, so 8, 12, 16, they will all lit up. Okay. Oops, okay, this is not the blue one. Alright, this is the red one. Alright, so let's cancel this and put R. Okay, so the blue one, I'll use the blue color ink. Alright, it will lit up once every 6 minutes. So it lit up in the first one. It will lit up in the 6th minute. It will lit up in the 12th minute. Okay, and then so on in multiples of 6. 18, 24, etc. So the last one is for yellow, and the yellow will, after lighting up, okay, the next time it will lit up is 9th minute. Then the next time it lit up will be 18 minutes. Alright, so on. Okay, so now this is the lowest common multiple question, because you can see here at the 12th minute both red and blue lit up. Okay, so when red and blue lit up, 12 is a multiple of 4, both 4 and 3. 4 and 6. Okay, 6 times 2 equals to 12, 4 times 3 equals to 12. So as long as you can find the lowest common multiple of all 3, red, blue and yellow, you will know when is the next time they will light up together. Alright, so now lowest common multiple of 4 minutes for red, 6 minutes for blue, 9 minutes for yellow is equal to 36 minutes. Okay, so 36 minutes later, red, blue and yellow will lit up together. Okay, 4 times 9 equals to 36, 6 times 6 equals to 36, and 9 times 4 equals to 36. Alright, so 36 is the lowest common multiple. We add this to the original time of 45 hours, and you will get the time 21 hours. Okay, so the answer is 17:21. Okay, we have a small mistake here, which is this is not 1 minute. The original time, we should view it as a 0 minute. Okay, because it just happened after it lit up, it is not considered 1 minute, so the 1 minute is actually here. But regardless, it doesn't really affect the results. Our answer is still correct. Okay, so question 4. Zihao took 1/4 of an hour to cycle from his home to his grandparents' house at a speed of 12 km per hour. On his return trip, he took 10 minutes to cycle along the same route. What was Zihao's average cycling speed? Okay, in such a question, we just find the total distance, alright, and then we divide it by the total time. Okay, first of all, we want to know how far Zihao's home is from his grandparents' house. And then later on, we multiply this distance by 2, and then we'll find the total distance. Okay, so Zihao's speed is 12 km per hour. Alright, he traveled for 1/4 of an hour. Okay, so we multiply them to get 3 kilometers. Okay, so that is how far Zihao is from his grandparents' house. Okay, we take that because Zihao traveled to his grandparents' house and later on he traveled back to his house on the same roads. And therefore the distance traveled will be 2 times 3 kilometers. Alright, total he traveled 6 kilometers. Then we find the total time, half an hour plus 10 minutes. 10 minutes actually 1/6 of an hour. Okay, we always use fractions for hour. Right, it is easier for that. And since we can use the calculator, we'll just use the calculator to find the answer. 5/12 hours. Okay, so this is the total time taken. Alright. You can change it to minutes if you want to help your understanding. But fraction is always the best form because usually they express speed as kilometer per hour, and therefore if you leave it in hours, you can straight away multiply with the speed without having to convert from minutes to hours and then back to minutes again. Alright. So to find Zihao's average cycling speed, we'll just take the total distance divided by the total time. So 6 km divided by 5/12 hours. Okay, use your calculator to get the value of 14/2/5 km per hour. Alright, so we will just express this 14/2/5 km per hour. Question 5. The figure below shows a rectangle ABCD. It is made of 2 similar big squares and 6 similar small squares. The area of each small square is 36 cm square. Find the perimeter of the rectangle ABCD. Okay, so they gave you a square. You must take note that the square is a big clue because a square has the same length and the breadth. So in order to find the sides of the square, you just square root 36. Alright? And if your multiplication table is good, you'll know that 36 is 6 times 6. Alright, so when you square root 36, you get the answer 6. Therefore, now you can start to label the diagram. Alright? Okay, so there is a bigger square. This is the bigger square. And it aligns with 3 of these 6's. Alright, so 3 times 6 is equals to 18. So these are 18. Okay, so we want to find out the perimeter of the figure, and therefore we add up all of these things. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 6's. Alright, so 10 times 6 is equals to 60. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 18's, right? So this will give me 72 cm. Okay, then we sum them together to get the answer. 60 plus 72 equals to 132 centimeters. Okay, so 132 centimeters is the answer. Okay, so move on. Question 6. In the figure below, ABCE is a parallelogram and DEFG is a trapezium. BD equals to CD, and EDC and BDF are straight lines. DE is parallel to GF. That is quite a lot of information, so make sure you mark out all the shapes properly first before you proceed to solving the question. If not, you will have missing information that you will need to get the answer. Okay, so first they told us that ABCE is a parallelogram, and therefore we have to mark out the parallel sides. Okay, so when we have parallel sides, we have certain properties of the shapes. Alright, okay, so DEFG is a trapezium. Okay, I think we're missing a D here. This is the D, not printed in the paper. DEFG is a trapezium. Okay, BD equals to CD. BD is equals to CD, and therefore this is a, okay, so when you have two sides of the same size in a triangle, it is an isosceles triangle, so you can automatically write this as 59 degree. Okay, later on you can also find this by using 180 minus 2 times 59. Okay, so we have this, okay, this thing we don't need to do anything yet. Okay, and EDC and BDF are straight lines. EDC and BDF are straight lines. When they tell you this, most likely because they want to tell you that this is opposite angles, and opposite angles are equal. DE is parallel to GF. DE is parallel to GF. Okay, so this is parallel to this as well. So these three lines are all parallel to each other. Okay, so now find the angle of AEC. AEC, we want to find this. Alright, this is not really difficult because in a parallelogram, the adjacent angles on the same side will add up to 180 degrees. Alright, so we will take 180 degrees minus 59 degrees, and then we'll find the angle AEC, which is 121 degrees. Okay, so that is answer for A. Alright, so for B, we realize that we want to find angle FDG, which is marked by yellow. Angle FDG. Alright, so we know that this is a 41 degree and these two lines are parallel. So this whole entire big one, the one marked out in black, this black one plus 41 will be equals 180. Okay, so we can take 180 minus 41, and then we will get the answer 139. Okay, but we also have this angle we need to find before we can take 139 minus this angle to get you this angle. Okay, so how do we get this angle? Here you realize that we have an X here. They are both straight lines as told to you by the question. Alright, so this makes this angle the opposite of this angle. Okay, the angle of BDC. And therefore we must first find angle BDC by taking 180 minus 59 and 59, which will give you 62 degrees. Since opposite angles are equal, this is also 62 degree. Alright, we will take 180 minus, 139 degrees, this one we have here, minus 62 degrees, alright, to give us the answer 77 degree. Okay, 77 degrees is the answer. Okay, moving. Question 7. Jositha had just enough money to buy 48 similar files. During a sale, the price of each file was reduced by 20 cents. She was able to buy 12 more files and had 60 cents left. Find the price of one file during the sale. So Jositha bought 48 similar files, or she had the money to buy 48 similar files. So if there was a sale and each file was reduced by 20 cents, there will be a savings. And therefore we first find this savings by taking 48 times 20 cents. Alright, so we take 48 times $0.20, which is 20 cents. Alright, and we will get the answer of $9.60. Alright, so this $9.60 in saving is able to get you another 12 more files, and also has 60 cents left. So first of all, not all of these savings were used to buy these 12 files. Alright, because you will have 60 cents left, you subtract away this 60 cents to get $9. Alright, so this $9 will be the price of the 12 files. Okay, so you take $9 divided by 12, and then you'll get an answer of 75 cents each. Okay, this gives you the answer. Alright, 75 cents. Alright, expressed in dollar form. Question 8. Kim has a savings of $20.40 in a coin box. All the coins in the box were 50-cent coins and 20-cent coins. There were 3 times as many 50-cent coins as 20-cent coins. Find the number of 20-cent coins in her coin box. Alright, this question is a grouping question where you will group three 50-cent coins, because the 50-cent coins, the ratio of the 50-cent coin to the 20-cent coins, alright, good habit again to write the ratio, is 3 times, so 3:1. Alright, that means in every group there will be 3 50 cents and 1 20 cents. Alright, so since the value given to you is $20.40 in the total value, you find the total value of one of these groups. There will be several of these groups, so you can draw a dot 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 for it. Alright, you don't know how many groups there are, but that's what you're trying to find out. Okay, so each group will be 3 times 50 cents, which is equals to $1.50, and add with another 20 cents. Which will give you $1.70. Alright, that is the value of one group. Alright, then you know that the total value is 2040. You take 2040 divided by $1.70. Alright, that will give you the answer of 12. Okay, so you have 12 of these groups altogether. So if they ask you for the number of 20-cent coins, there is one of these 20 cents in each group. Therefore, 12 is the number of groups, but it is also the number of 20-cent coins. Moving on, question 9. The capacity of 5 big identical bottles is the same as the capacity of 9 small identical bottles. Each big bottle contains 0.3 liters more water than each small bottle. Find the capacity of one big bottle. Okay, in this question we start to change each statement from English to mathematical form. The capacity of 5 big identical bottles, so we will write 5B, B for big bottles, alright, is equal to the capacity of 9 small identical bottles, and then we write 9s. Okay, so this gives us a rate in which we can exchange big bottles for small bottles. For every 5 big bottles you have, you can exchange for 9 small bottles, and vice versa. Okay, you can exchange 9 small ones for 5 big ones. Okay, so each big bottle contains 0.3 liter more water than each small bottle. Find the capacity of one big bottle. This statement we can also change to an equation. Each big bottle, that means one big bottle, is actually equal to 0.3 liter plus one small bottle. Okay, so when we use this equation, we find out that this and this both on the same side has B. Okay, so I want to make them the same. When I make them the same, I can equate the resulting equation. Here I have 9 small bottles already. So I need to find, based on this equation, alright, based on this equation, what it will be if I multiply by 5. Okay, so every item in this equation shall be multiplied by 5. 1b times 5 is 5b. 0.3 L liter times 5 will be 1.5 liters. And then the 5 times 1 small bottle will be 5 small bottles. Okay, now because both equation is equals to 5b, we can say the yellow underlined ones are the same as well because they are both equal to 5b. Okay, so then we can say 9s, 9 small bottle is actually equals to 1.5 liters plus 5 small bottles. Okay, so then you can see that the 4 small bottles is actually 1.5 liters. Okay, then we can change liters to milliliters to make our working easier. 1.5 liter is equals to 1500 milliliters. Okay, so one small bottle will be equals to 1500 divided by 4, which will give you 375 ml. But the question asks for one big bottle, so we go back to this equation. One big bottle is actually 0.3 liters, which is 300 ml more than one small bottle. So we will take 375 plus 300, and then you will get the answer 675 milliliters. Alright, so the answer is 675 milliliters. Question 10. There were 523 red and blue chairs in the drama studio. Mr. Ching brought in another 40 red chairs and took away 4% of the blue chairs. As a result, there were 547 chairs. How many red chairs were there in the drama studio at first? We can see from this question that we have a total initially. And then later on, Mr. Ching brought in another 40 red chairs. So actually, we can find out a new total before changing the blue chairs. Alright, so we'll find this new total, 523 chairs in total plus extra 40 chairs which are red, and then you'll find that there is a new total of 563. That is before 4% of the blue chairs were removed. Alright, so now 563 chairs after subtracting 4% of the blue chairs will give you 547. And therefore, the difference between 563 and the even newer total is equal to 16 chairs. Okay, so 16 chairs is actually 4% of the blue chairs. And therefore, 1% will be 4 chairs. They want to find the number of red chairs. So I'll just find 100% of the blue chair first, which is 4 times 100. 400 chairs. So if there are 400 blue chairs, then we will take 523, the total initially, minus 400 blue chairs to get the answer 123 chairs. Okay, you have the answer 123. Question 11. Rin had $168 more than Sue. After Rin donated 1/4 of her money and Sue spent 4/5 of her money, they had $734 left. How much money did Rin have at first? So this question, they gave us a more relationship, $168 more. So we can draw a model for a more relationship. Make sure the units are long enough so that later on you can cut them. Alright, so this is 168. We are going to label the model on top because later on we will need to cut the model. And therefore, if we label it inside and we cut it, it will become very messy. Okay, so after Rin donated 1/4 of her money and Sue spent 4/5 of her money, here we have a problem. Okay, we are going to cut this 1 unit of Susan into 5 pieces, and then 4 pieces will be spent. And then later on, we also have to cut Rin's 1 unit here into 4 units. And if I cut the block into 4 and also into 5, then the resulting units will not be of the same size. So one way to counter this is to make 4 and 5 and cut the model to the lowest common multiple of 4 and 5. Then the resulting portion will be the same. Okay, so we will change 5 and 4 to the same number, and the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4 is actually 20. So we're going to change this fraction by multiplying by 4. Okay, so 4 times 4 is going to give you 16, and then 5 times 4 is going to give you 20. And here, 1 times 5 and 4 times 5, I'm going to have 5 over 20. Alright, so now I can cut it into 20 units, but I'm not going to do that because it's quite a waste of time. I can just label them instead of cutting them into 20 units. Alright, so we're going to cut 5 over 20 of Rin's money. Alright, so we're going to cut 5 units, and then the remaining will be 15 units. These 5 units, we shade them because Rin donated, so later on the model will no longer include the 5 units. Alright, and don't forget that $168 must also be broken into 1/4, since we do not have to use this fraction because this fraction is the same as 1/4. 5 over 20 is actually harder to divide 168 by 20 because you have a decimal. So we'll still continue using 1/4 for 168. Alright, so 1/4 of 168 is actually 168 divided by 4, which gives you 42. So now $42 is being removed. We automatically update the remaining, which is 126, alright, as the remainder, and then we shade this $42 because it's going to be donated. Okay, so Rin donated a total of 5 units plus $42. Alright, so now we move on to Sue. Sue spent 4 over 5 of her money, which is 16 units of her money. So when you cut out 16 units, you know that 4 remains. Okay, so we shade this. Okay, we shade this 16 units. And then now we can redraw the model. Rin is to Sue. Rin has 15 units left. Okay, I'm just going to draw this 15 unit because this 5 unit is gone. Alright, then I'm going to draw $126. Alright, then Sue is only going to be left with 4 units. Alright, now they had $734 left, so the total of these things are $734. Okay, so now all we need to do is to remove this 126 from 734. Okay, we'll get the answer $608, and we will know that 19 units is here. 15 units plus 4 units, because we remove the value of 126. What's left is this 19 units. Okay, will be equals to $608, and when we find 1 unit, it is $608 divided by 19, and we'll get an answer of $32 per unit. Okay, so we read back the question. How much money did Rin have at first? Okay, so Rin has 20 units. So 20 units, we will take $32 times 20. Okay, this gives us $140. And then we are going to add back this 168. Alright, don't forget that she has this 168 at first as well. Okay, so we'll add back 168. We'll get the answer $808. Okay. The figure is made of a circle and 4 semicircles. C is the center of the circle and its radius is 20 cm. AB is equal to BC. Find the area of the shaded part. So first of all, we can see that this shape is actually an irregular shape. It's like a yin-yang of the Taoist symbol, right? This is an irregular shape. So we want to cut it into regular shapes so that we can use the formulas that we have learned for semicircles, circles, and quadrants if necessary. Okay, so now we can see that this portion, this semicircle over here, actually can slide over here and fill a big semicircle. Alright, so we do that, and then we find this big semicircle. Okay, so the formula for a circle is pi r squared, but a semicircle will be half of a pi r squared. Alright, so the radius is actually, this portion is 10 cm, so the radius is actually 2 times 10 cm. Okay, so 2 times 10 equals to 20 cm, and then that is the radius. Alright, so we take half times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius times the radius. Okay, this will give us 628 cm square. Okay, so we have found the big semicircle. Alright, so we are left with this small semicircle over here, and then this shape over here. Okay, so this, let us find this shaded part over here first. Alright, we can see that this shaded part here is actually the big semicircle. We already got 628 cm square. Okay, minus away this portion, yellow color semicircle over here, and therefore it will give us this shape over here. Alright, so this yellow color semicircle has a diameter of 10 plus 10 plus 10, diameter of 30 cm. Okay, so we need its radius because the formula of the area is based on radiuses. Alright, so we have 30 centimeters. We will divide this by 2 to get a radius of 15 cm. Okay, so the yellow color semicircle has a radius of 15 cm. Alright, so now we again apply the formula half pi r square. Alright, so half times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius, 15 times 15 again. Alright, this will give us the answer of 353.25 cm square. Alright, so to find this area, we'll just take the 628 cm square, the big semicircle minus the small semicircle. Alright, 628 minus 353.25 will give me 274.75 cm square. Alright, so we are just left with this small tiny semicircle over here to find out. Alright, so the diameter of this small tiny semicircle is actually 10 centimeters. So again, we need to divide it by 2 because the diameter is not used to find the area, it is used to find the circumference. So the radius of the tiny semicircle is 5 cm. Okay, so again we apply the formula. Half times pi r square will be equals to half times 3.14 times 5 times 5, which will give us the answer 39.25 cm square. Okay, so we have the smallest tiny semicircle, we have this shape over here, and then we have the big semicircle. We add them all together, 628 plus 274.75 plus 39.25. Okay, you'll get the answer of 942 centimeters square. Okay, which is the answer, 942 centimeters square. Moving on to the next question, we have a speed question. Jaffa left town G at 10 a.m. and drove to town H at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Half an hour later, Ivan left town G and drove to town H, traveling along the same road as Jaffa. He met Jaffa at the petrol station at 1300 hours before reaching town H at 1400 hours. The petrol station was 10 kilometers from town H. Find the distance between town G and town H. Question 13. Jaffa left town G at 1000 hours and drove to town H at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Half an hour later, Ivan left town G and drove to town H, traveling along the same road as Jaffa. He met Jaffa at the petrol station at 1300 hours before reaching town H at 1400 hours. The petrol station was 10 kilometers from town H. Alright, let us do question 13a first. Find the distance between town G and town H. Okay, for a speed question, let us draw a line so that we can keep track of all the numbers properly. Alright, so we're draw a line diagram. On one end you have town G, and on the other hand you have town H. Alright, in this case, both Jaffa and Ivan left town G to drive for town H, so they are heading towards the same direction. Okay, so Jaffa started at 1000 hours, and then he ended up at the petrol station at 1300 hours. At the petrol station, at 1300 hours. So that means 3 hours has passed. Alright, you take 1300 hours minus 1000 hours, that will be equals to 3 hours. Okay, since you have the average speed of Jaffa, you can find the petrol station. The petrol station would be distance. Sorry, you want to find the distance, you take the speed times the time. The speed is 60 kilometers per hour multiplied by 3 hours to get 180 kilometers. Alright, so 180 kilometers is the distance between town G and the petrol station. Alright, the question later told us that the petrol station was 10 kilometers away from town H. Alright, so here is 10 km. So the total distance will be 180 kilometers plus 10 kilometers. Alright, that will give you 190 kilometers. And that is the answer for question part A. Alright, 190 kilometers. Alright, the second part B, Find the speed of Ivan. Give your answer correct to the nearest whole number. Alright, so the only difference between Ivan and Jafar is that Ivan started at 10:30 instead of 10 o'clock. Alright, so now, then later the question say, Ivan met Jafar at the petrol station at 1 before reaching town edge at 2 o'clock. Alright, so 2 o'clock is the end time. And then we'll minus 10:30, which is the starting time, to get a total of 3.5 hours. Alright, so since we have the distance of town G to town H, we take this distance divided by the time, which is 3.5 hours, right, to give us the answer, which is equal to 54.2857 hours, which rounds off to 54 kilometers per hour. Alright, so this will be the answer for B. Moving on, the pie chart below shows the different types of biscuits sold at the supermarket. Half of the biscuits sold at the supermarket were butter cookies. The number of packets of wafer biscuits sold was 1/3 of the number of packets of butter cookies sold. What fraction of the biscuits sold were oatmeal cookies? And B, 1470 packets of butter cookies were sold. Find the total number of packets of wafer biscuits and oatmeal biscuits and oatmeal cookies sold. Alright, as we can see from the pie chart, the butter cookies is actually half of the total. So we can label in the butter cookies half. Alright, and then cream cracker is 90 degree. Alright, it's a right angle, it's marked by a right angle. And therefore 90 degree over the whole entire 360 degrees is one whole entire round. And therefore 90 degrees is actually 1/4. Alright, so the cream crackers consist of 1/4, made up 1/4 of all the biscuits. Okay? Then you can also see the clue given here. The number of packets of wafer biscuits sold was 1/3 the number of packets of butter cookies sold. So we know that the butter cookies proportion is half. So if the wafer is 1/3 of the butter cookies, then we multiply the fraction. Okay, we take a 1/2, which is the butter cookies proportion, multiply by 1/3. Alright, 1/3 off, so it's a multiply, right? So 1/6. So the wafer is actually 1/6. Alright, since we know that this portion, alright, the other portion that is not butter cookies is also half. Alright, then we know cream crackers is 1/4. We know that wafer is 1/6. Then we can find the oatmeals by taking half minus 1/6 minus 1/4. Alright, use your calculator and we'll find the answer 1/12. Okay, so the oatmeal is 1/12. So now we have the proportion of each of these biscuits and cookies. Alright, then we can try to solve the question. First of all, A, what fraction of the biscuits sold were oatmeal cookies? Alright, so this we already have the answer, 1/12. Alright, so we'll write down the answer. For B, 1470 packets of butter cookies were sold, and therefore the butter cookies, we know the proportion of the butter cookies is half. So the total must be 1470 times 2. So the total would be 1470 times 2, which will give us an answer of 2940 biscuits and cookies. Alright, so we have 2940 biscuits and cookies. We only need to find wafer biscuits and oatmeal biscuit, the total proportion. And then we will take that total proportion, multiply by the total of 2940 to get the answer. Alright, so we have wafer. Wafer is 1/6. And then we have oatmeal, which is 1/12. Okay, this will give us 1/4. Alright? And then 1/4 of 2940 is the same as 2940 divided by 4. Okay, 1 out of 4, so we just break it into 4 pieces. And then we'll get the answer, 735. Okay, that will be the answer for B. Alright, next question, question 15. Shona had 40% more green beads than white beads. She bought 60% more green beads to make some necklaces. She used up 25% of the green beads. In the end, she had 340 more green bits than white bits. How many bits did Shona have in the end? So our habits must be there, and therefore the percentages, we must know the percentages are very confusing proportions. Alright, so we must always change them away. Okay, so Shona, we will break down the question into several segments and tackle them individually. Okay, so first part, they told us that Shona had 40% more green bits than white bits. So this 40% is a percentage. I want to change it into fraction. So what this question means is also Shona had 2/5 more green bits than white bits. Okay, so I want to express it in a ratio. Alright, ratio would be the clearest proportion because you can easily see green bits have how many units and white bits have how many units. Alright, so I'm going to write down a ratio. Green is to white. Alright, 2/5 more, that means the denominator is white bits. The numerator is how much they have more, so 2 plus 5 to give you the green bits. Alright, so white bit has 5, green has 2 out of 5 more, so 7. Okay, so she bought 60% more green bits and to make some necklaces. She bought 60%. I'm going to change this 60% to another fraction, which is 3/5. Alright, you can always use the calculator to help you simplify. Alright, if you want to use the calculator, you just key in the fraction 60/100. Alright, 60% is 60/100. You press equal, you will automatically simplify it to 3:5. Alright, this is a very good trick you can use to help you simplify your fractions easily. Alright, so she bought 3/5 more green bits to make more necklaces. So let's see the current proportion for green bits. The current proportion for green bit is that green bit is 7. So now we have a problem. We need to break down green bits into 5 units, right? Because she bought 3 out of 5, not 3 out of 7. But the number 7 cannot be divided by 5. So how do we overcome this obstacle? Alright, it is actually a very simple trick. If you want to divide the units into another number which cannot be divided now, you can always change the ratio into another form. Alright, but we don't change the ratio itself. Alright, we just change it from the simplified format to the unsimplified format. Alright, so in order for us to cut these 7 units into 5, we must first multiply it by 5. Okay, so then we get 35 is to 25. Alright, now this number, this ratio 35 is to 25 is exactly the same as the ratio 7 is to 5. It's just that it's not simplified. Okay, so we have no problems with this. Alright, so now, can we take out 3 out of 5 of 35 units now? Yeah, we can. We can take 3 out of 5 of 35. Alright, 3/5 times 35 is actually 21 units. Okay? We are going to update this ratio by adding 21 units to 35 units. Alright, so I'm going to add 21 units here. This is going to be 56 units. And then the white one is still 25. Alright, there's no change there. Okay, she used up 25% of the green bits. Now that she used up 25%, again, we are going to change this percentage into a fraction, 1/4. Alright, and then we are going to, so the remaining portion must be 3/4. Alright, so this 56 units, I'm going to times 3/4. Alright, and that will give me the number 42. Okay, 42 units. So here, my new ratio is 42. And then the white one is still 25. Okay, so this is our final ratio that we're going to use. 42 is to 25. Alright, then we read the final sentence. In the end, she had 340 more green bits than white bits. Okay, so this difference of 340 is the value that will help us solve the question. Okay, so we look at the value, we look at the proportion difference between green and white, 42 and 25. Okay, we find the difference. That is equals to 17 units. Okay, 17 units is then equal to the value given to us, 340. 1 unit will be equals to 340 divided by 17, and that will give us 20. Okay, so how many bits did Shona have in the end? So we just find the total of 42 and 25. Alright, 42 plus 25 is 67 units. and therefore we take 67 times 20 to get our answer of 1340 bits. Alright, and that will be our answer. Okay, question 16. A tank was 2/3 filled with water at first. After 2 minutes, a tap was turned on to drain the water from the tank. The graph below shows the amount of water in the tank over 12 minutes. Find the capacity of the tank. B. How many liters of water flowed out of the tank in 1 minute? And C. How many minutes would it take to drain all the water from the tank completely? Alright, so we were told that the tank was 2/3 filled. And from here we can see initially the volume of water inside is 40 liters. Alright, so this is very simple. Alright, 2 units is equal. This 2 unit in the numerator is equals to 40 liters. 1 unit will be equals to 20 liters, and 3 unit will be equals to 60 liters. Alright, so that is the answer for the capacity if the tank was full. Okay, so we move on to B. How many liters of water flowed out of the tank in 1 minute? While we interpret the graph, we must use the line graph where the line graph cuts the intersection, alright, of 2 axes. We don't want the point to be halfway through because we wouldn't know what is the value. Alright, so we take a point where there will be an intersection. Alright, so this point just nice falls on a horizontal line and also on a vertical line. Alright, so this is a good point to start, and this is also a good point to get. Alright, so here we have 40 liters, and it decreased to the halfway between 30 and 40, which is actually 35 liters. So this is a decrease of 5 liters. Alright, so we take 5 liters divided by 2 units here is actually 2 minutes. So here is 4 minutes, so here is 2 minutes. Alright, so B will be, the rate will be 5 liters divided by 2 minutes to get 2.5 liters per minute. Alright, that will be the answer for B. Alright, so we always want to use the intersections. Okay? If not, we wouldn't be able to know what is this. Alright? Because we don't know whether it's halfway through or a bit less or more than half. So we wouldn't know. Okay, moving on to option question C. How many minutes would it take to drain all the water from the tank completely? Okay, so we have 40 liters. So all we need to do is take the total volume, 40 liters, divided by the rates in which we have found it to be 2.5 liters per minute, and then we'll get the answer of 16 minutes. Okay, so 16 minutes. Question 17. Mac has some goldfish and angelfish in 2 tanks. In tank X, the number of goldfish was 3 times the number of angelfish. In tank Y, the ratio of the number of goldfish to the number of angelfish was 2:5. Mac transferred 20% of the angelfish from tank Y to tank X. The number of fish in tank Y became 168, and the ratio of the number of goldfish to the number of angelfish in tank X became 5:4. How many fish were in the tank X in the end? Alright, there are so many proportions in this question that it's hard to keep track. So let us go step by step in the question and list out all the ratios. Alright, all the proportions should be expressed as ratio. This is a very important habit to have. Okay, in tank X, the number of goldfish was 3 times the number of angelfish. We will do this first. Okay, so goldfish is G, angelfish is A, and then the ratio is 3:1. Okay, now we have done this, we move on. In tank Y, the ratio of the number of goldfish to the number of angelfish was 2:5. Okay, so you have to label them as you write. Okay, so this one is for tank Y. Goldfish is to angelfish is 2:5. Alright, can we now say that these 2 units of the goldfish is less than this 3, and this 5 unit is less than this 1? We cannot, because the question did not give us a relationship between tank Y and tank X. So we do not know how large the units are. So currently they are different units. Alright, this is very important to take notes. You cannot just say, oh, this is 2 units, this is 3 units. No, they are not the same size unit. You do not know how much there is. Okay, so we will just move on for the time being. Okay, Mac transferred 20%, automatically we change to 1/5, alright, of the angelfish from tank Y to tank X. So we look at the angel's fish proportion. The angelfish proportion is 5 units. Alright, so 5 unit can be 1/5. 1/5 out of 5 would be 1 unit. And therefore, we minus 1 unit away from the angelfish. And we have a new ratio 2:4. Okay, so he transferred 1 unit over, leaving 6 units left. Okay? Since the question told you that the number of fish in tank Y became 168 after losing that 1 unit, we can say that 6 units is equal to 168, and 1 unit will be equal to 168 divided by 6, which is equal to 28. Moving on, the question told us that the number of goldfish to the number of angelfish in tank X after receiving this extra angelfish became 5:4. So this is actually a before ratio and this is an after ratio. After receiving 28 angelfish from tank Y, the ratio of angelfish in tank X became, goldfish to angelfish became 5:4. Alright, here is a single subject unchanged question because the goldfish did not change at all, and therefore the before ratio of 3 unit here is actually should be the same as this 5 units. Alright, it is currently not the same. So in order to make them the same, you're going to multiply them to their lowest common multiple. Alright, which is 15. Okay, so 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 3 is 12. Alright, so the difference between 12 and 5 units is actually 7 units. Okay, so now we have another units here, but note that the unit here is no longer the same as this units. Okay, so 7 units is equals to 28. So 1 unit is equals to 4. How many fish were in tank X in the end? Alright, so in the end there were a total of 27 units. So we find 27 units times 4. We'll get the answer of 108. Alright? Okay. Our last question, question 18. Nigel and Osman have some game cards each. If Nigel gives Osman 49 game cards, he will have the same number of game cards as Osman. If Osman gives Nigel 23 game cards, Nigel will have 7 times as many game cards as Osman. Alright, so here we can use either the ratio or the model method to solve this question. The model method will be able to let you visualize everything clearly. Alright, so let's use the model method. Nigel and Osman have some game cards. Do you know how much it is? Do you know the proportion? You don't. Alright, so there's nothing to draw for this statement. Okay, so moving on, if Nigel gives Osman 49 game cards, he will have the same number of game cards as Osman. Alright, in problem sums, we are very interested in proportions of values that are equal, same. Alright, and being same is a big clue. Okay, so we now have something to draw. Alright, Nigel and Osman is the same. They have equal. So you're going to draw equal block. Okay, but do note that this equal blocks is the result of Nigel giving Osman 49. So we can actually give back 49 from Osman back to Nigel. Okay, so we can know exactly how much they have at first. Okay, so we cut 49. Okay, whenever we cut this, we also have to cut here. Alright, not because we are going to move this block over here, but because later on when I moved Osman's 49, which belonged to Nigel at first, back to Nigel, there is a gap here that you need to know. Okay, how big it is, and then this block actually tells you that it is 49. Alright, so whenever you cut a model, you always cut another one. Alright, and then when you transfer back 49, you're going to draw back 49 here. So actually what this means is that Nigel at first would have 98 more than Osman. Alright, 98 more than Osman. Okay, so that is the first clue. Alright, so the first two sentences is there just to tell us that Nigel has 98 more than Osman. Nothing more, nothing less. Alright, so if Osman gives Nigel 93 game cards, Nigel have 7 times as many game cards as Osman. Alright, so now we know that Nigel has 98 more than Osman. We are going to draw a new diagram so that we can have a cleaner diagram to start with. Okay, so now we know that Nigel has 98 more than Osman. Okay, so now we can cut the second part of the question says if Osman gives Nigel 23 game cards. So I'm going to cut 23 out from Osman. Alright, concurrently I will also cut 23 from Nigel. Alright, we need to know how big this space is later on. Okay, so then I shade this 23 because Osman is going to give it to Nigel, and then I transfer it to Nigel. Then after I transfer it, I will use brackets to show this proportion 7 times. Okay, so I'm going to draw a bracket over here and then draw a bracket over here. Alright, remember Osman has only this part because this 23 is already given back to Nigel. Alright, so Osman here is 1 unit. Nigel here is 7 unit. So we can see that this portion over here is actually 7 unit minus 1 unit, which is 6 unit. Okay, so 6 unit will be equals to 23 plus 98 plus 23, which is equal to 44. And therefore 1 unit will be equals to 144 divided by 6, which is equals to 24. Okay, then we read the question. How many game cards does Nigel have? All of these things did not happen if, alright, none of these things happen. So we want right at the start over here, right at the start. Okay, so we need to know only this portion. We do not want to find this 23. Okay, so we take 7 units, which is 24 times 7, which is 168, minus 23 to get the answer 145. Alright, so the answer is 145. Alright, that's all we have today. We have went through the entire prelims paper. I will be helping you guys out every single week. So please support our videos and subscribe to our channel if you have enjoyed our videos. Thank you very much and have a great day.